One day I woke up having the desire to create, to build something. And that feeling of solving a problem, but then I don't know where to start. I don't know how to start. I'm clueless. And this particular situation, I know I'm not the only one that experienced this. I know a lot of entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, also encounter this. They would say, for example, in Ant Society, my community, they would say, where to start if I want to learn about Facebook ads, if I want to own my own business, and how to start to become a media buyer, how to build my portfolio as a freelancer or as a virtual assistant. Questions like that, the question of how to start doing something that is sometimes different with the path that we're already taking right now. We've all been there, right? I'm sure I'm not the only person that encountered this. And if you're watching this video, you've been hooked. I'm not gonna fool you here. I'm just gonna give you some thoughts that I've learned recently when I was scrolling through Coursera and I encountered this course about social impact. And the reason why I want to learn more about this course is I'm digging and learning more about social entrepreneurship. It's a business model I've been implementing for a while, and maybe we can just make another video if you want to learn more about social entrepreneurship. But this is basically about design thinking, a concept that I learned through that course. A concept that it's not really my first time to hear that concept. I heard this already from several webinars, seminars in the past that I've joined, and even recently when I joined the Youth Mobilization Summit in Malaysia, I learned this, but it was just recently through the course that I've learned how this is connected to entrepreneurship. And if you're an aspiring or existing entrepreneur, I'm sure this is something that you really want to know. So the problem really is sometimes we create premature solutions without even knowing more about the problems. And we know that, of course, having ideas from time to time, we're having ideas from time to time. Maybe you're going to shower and maybe you're on your bed, you have that idea, and then you immediately implement it without even knowing what's really the root cause of the problem you're trying to solve. That's where design thinking comes in. Design thinking is basically you empathizing with the audience that you're trying to help. Next is basically you also innovating the possible solutions that can help solve that problem, and of course iterating. This is a very important part of the process, wherein you test, you experiment, and also still you iterate, because it's really a cycle wherein after you test something and if you learn that that didn't work out, then you can just go back to empathizing again, listening to other people, and then creating possible solutions again and testing it again. That's really the process. Later on, I'm gonna be giving you a framework that I have made, so you can easily implement this maybe to your own business, or to your draft idea of a business. Now, maybe you're thinking, I've already got a lot of experience. I can't think of solutions right off the bat. Maybe you've already finished your master's, you've had several years of work experience, and then you're thinking, I know this. I am familiar with this situation. This is the solution. Or maybe you're thinking that it's really time consuming when you still research about the problem, when instead you can just solve it right away. Those are the common objections that I think most people would resort to. But trust me, I've had these thoughts too. Okay? But let me tell you, rushing into the solutions that we think without truly understanding the problem is like sailing a boat without knowing where to go. you will be lost. You will end up adrift, out of the course, out of the path that you're attempting to go. The real benefit here is not just about finding the solution. It's about creating value. It's about helping the society. It's about making a positive impact to the society. And that's where entrepreneurship comes in, because we aspire as entrepreneurs to solve problem, to create meaningful, profound change to society. So people can find value to what we're selling, to what we're offering, and then that in turn will help us grow and scale our business. And from the lessons I've learned in that course that I mentioned, I made this ideal framework. That's the acronym IDEAL. IDEAL means identify, define, envision, actualize, and learn. So identify, it's about understanding your target audience or your customers and their needs. It's basically you trying to put yourself in the shoes of others to identify their problems. Second one is to define. So define, basically, it means you use the insights you've learned from the first stage, which is to identify or empathizing, to define the problem you want to solve, or if not the problem, the mission that you want to accomplish. Next is envision or ideate. Envision is about brainstorming a range of possible solutions. So this is where your creativity comes in. And it's the key to generate a lot of ideas without judging them. And for you to successfully do this part, you need to step back and abandon some assumptions that you may have in your mind. Next is to actualize or to prototype, to create prototypes, to implement, basically. To take your ideas and turn them into tangible prototypes. So this can be a simple and low cost, just something to help you see how your solution might work. So it doesn't mean that in this stage you're about to launch a big step already. No, it doesn't mean like that. Here you're just testing out one of the possible solutions that you've listed out in the previous step, which is to in the envision step. Next is to learn. This is where you test. This is where you experiment. This is where you use the feedback of others when you let them use the system or the product or the offer that you've given to them. You use their feedback to learn what works and what doesn't. And here also iteration comes in. Iteration basically means you change something because of the feedback. You change something from the feedback that you've received from the users. Okay, so basically that's the ideal framework. Now, I want to give you some examples. Because I've seen this method work wonders in all kinds of scenarios already. Whether you're trying to build your own personal brand, whether you're trying to start an e-commerce business, whether you're trying to launch a social enterprise like myself, and this ideal framework provides a reliable roadmap. And I'm gonna give you an example. The first example that I'm going to give you is how I built my social enterprise. Now, I don't know ideal framework in the past. Okay, I haven't. I just created it through the help of ChatGPT. Um, but then I discovered that everything that I did in the past when I was building Bakas, it seems like everything is in line with this framework, and I'm going to share it with you here. So I'm gonna post something here on the screen, and I'll just be going through each stage. Now, I began with identifying the first stage, the issues I deeply cared about, which is mental health awareness. And then I defined the core problem, which is the stigma here in the Philippines. Talking about mental health is considered a taboo topic for among society. And then Next is we ideated possible solutions or multiple solutions. It's about creating online community, selling statement shirts, or designing tote bags. Then we prototyped. So we created the first batch of shirts, and then we sold them. Of course, through my knowledge also with advertising, I use that to advertise on Facebook, on Instagram. And then I eventually learned from the feedback that we've got from our first batch of customers. And eventually, it turned well until now. Bakas is here. We're turning almost 3 years early next year. So we're really proud of what we've been through. So that's basically the application of ideal framework. I'm going to give you another example, which is if you want to build a new e-commerce brand, this is what ideal framework would look like for you. So for the first stage, identify. You start by understanding who your target customers are and what do they need. If you're selling handmade jewelry, for instance, you need to understand what styles your potential customers prefer, how much they're willing to pay, and how they usually discover and purchase such products. So you can do this by doing surveys, by having interviews. The next one is to define. So using the insight from your research, define the problem you're trying to solve. So maybe customers are looking for unique handcrafted jewelry, but find the options in the market too generic. Or perhaps they want a convenient and reliable online platform to explore and buy these kinds of products. So those are some of the problems that you have discovered through your research in the first stage. Now we're here in the third stage, which is envision. Here you ideate. You generate ideas to address the problems and meet the needs you've identified. So here, this could involve brainstorming ways to source unique designs, considering different website layouts to enhance the shopping experience, or maybe joining Shopee or signing up for a TikTok seller account, or developing marketing strategies to reach your target customers, maybe on social media, online, or maybe even not online, even also involving physical stores. Those are just ideas that you can envision of according to the problems and the research that you've done in the earlier stages. And then the fourth one is to actualize. Here you create prototypes. So choose some of your best ideas and bring them to life. The easiest one in the previous stage is basically to create your TikTok seller account, or try to post some videos on TikTok and tag the product that you're selling. This could mean creating a few jewelry pieces and taking professional photos of them, designing a mock-up for your website or your Shopee shop store, or drafting some promotional posts for social media. Those are um, some of the ideas that you've got in the previous stage, but then again here you're just choosing the simple ones, the ones that you can prototype. So the idea is you can just simply test, okay, which is the next stage. You learn, okay. Now after you test your after you create the prototypes, you test them. You might show your product photos to potential customers to see if they find them appealing, or ask friends to navigate your website mock-up to ensure it's user-friendly, or check the videos that you've uploaded on TikTok and gather the feedback. This is the most important part. You gather the feedback and use it, okay? Don't take offense by the feedback. Even negative feedback can help you, okay? So even if you have seen 1 star, 2 star feedback, just consider, like, it would, of course, it would be better if they would include why did they give you that particular low star feedback. So of course you need to use it to improve your product, your operations, your website, your store, your online store, and also your marketing strategies. Now remember, You can go through these steps several times. Some actually this can be a cycle, refining your approach each time based on what you learn. Once you're confident with your e-commerce business plan and have tested it thoroughly, you're ready to launch your online store. I mean, you have already pre-launched it, but just on the beta stage. But don't stop there, of course, because you also need to improve your ways. You also need to improve your systems. You also need to improve your products. And each step was a journey of discovery. It's a journey of refinement, of growth. And you need to embrace this part of the journey. I'm saying this because maybe you have already encountered a lot of messages from other gurus or from other creators that,
oh, I've grown this e-commerce brand in 30 days.
you may not grow that immediately in 30 days. For some, maybe they're lucky, they have a lot of budget for advertising. They have celebrity friends who help them grow it. But then in your case, focus on the ideal framework. Don't really, compare yourself to your competitors. How did they grow? Because that will really hinder your growth. This process may overwhelm you somehow. Of course, I hope it did not, because I made a framework that is just very simple to follow. Don't let this process intimidate you, because it's not a race. It's a marathon. The most challenging phase here is really the identify phase. And if you don't have background on research, basically it requires understanding of the user's needs. And it's a bit daunting at first. It's overwhelming, I would say. I mean, even just the word research, it's already overwhelming even for me. I'm already thinking about the format, the outline. What should I get? Like, what website should I go to? Like, how should it be structured? So those problems, it can overwhelm you in the process. But here's a tip: if you don't want to have that very long process at the start, just to give you a kickstarter, start with your own problems. Since you are familiar with these issues, you won't need extensive research anymore, saving you time and effort. So the solutions you create will be, of course, genuine, it's relatable, and of course, it's more impactful because you're trying to solve your problem, right? And then after all, there are a lot of great innovations that have been born out of personal experiences and frustrations. How I built Bakas, it came from my personal experience dealing with mental health issues during the pandemic. So, aspiring change makers, aspiring entrepreneurs, you should not wait for the perfect start. This video should have served as a guide for you to make that first step. Through design thinking, trust the process, trust the long game, trust the iterative process. This is how you drive your own entrepreneurial journey. This is how we create a better world. This is how we create a business that would give value to the people in need. And basically, that's it. Stay inspired, keep innovating, and I hope to see you again next week. Of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I hope you like these kinds of video. Apologies for wearing sleeveless for this one. I just don't want to have so many considerations before clicking the record button. I just want to have a comeback, and a comeback like this is something that I've really dreamed about for the past weeks. But then right now I'm just waiting for graduation, so I have a lot of time, and I still don't know. It's not quite clear yet for me right now. That's why you can see on the whiteboard, I'm still planning what I need to do in my life, what are my goals, resetting my goals, and iterating it, application of design thinking, based on the feedback or based on the experiences that I'm getting every single day. So again, thank you so much for watching this video, and follow me on TikTok, also on Instagram. I already have threads, so let me know in the comment section below. What else do you want to talk about?